Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got a fun-filled Tuesday evening here at CAF HQ. We've got an interview that's been months in the making. We were postponing it numerous times, but we're finally able to present. Oh, my phone's even happy that we're getting this thing started. But let me bring in the number one Galactus collector. Now, this is not a self titled thing. I decided to give TAMD one this title, and we'll see if he lives up to it tonight when we check out the artwork that he's brought for us to look at. Hey, Tariq.
Hey Bill, how are
How are
you?
you? I'm pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Thanks for the title, number one Galactus art collector. I don't know if I'm gonna live up to it, but hopefully the audience will like what they see.
Well, I'd like to think that they will. I was thinking about, having a special trophy created and sent to you so you could, have it proudly presented behind you while we were doing this. But just things, the holiday got in my way and everything, and I couldn't get it over to you. But maybe at OAX, I'll present it to you in front of, Mikhail and Larry and some of those other Galactus collectors that might like to think they're the number one collector on CAF of Galactus artwork. But again, we'll see. Maybe we'll have to take a poll in the chat before this whole thing is over.
Yeah, that my guess is ML will snatch it from me and run away with it and never come back.
Oh boy, Marcus says any Mannix. Well, if you were looking closely, Marcus, you would have seen a Mannix pop in there in the intro video clip. So there will be a Mannix shown this evening. But yeah, we had a it's taken a while to get here. I mean, I think when we were trying to set up some of the interviews back in the summertime, I think Casper might have reached out to you, then, and it's just you are a very busy man. So I'm glad we finally got to make this happen here in the month of December.
I'm glad as well. Unfortunately, I do keep a busy schedule, but always take time out to watch you on YouTube. Always take time out to watch the comic art shows. May not be the biggest of commenters. I tend to watch while I'm multitasking or working, but I've always enjoyed your shows, and probably is a long time coming. You're right. It's taken a while, but I'm so glad we're here.
Likewise. So we have a lot of art to look at, and usually I try to say, hey, let's stick with like 18 to 20 pieces. You gave me a lot more than that, which is good. I think I've got a different
I'm
way of my
sorry, Bill. I I couldn't I couldn't kill my children.
show. I understand. I mean, when I look through it, it's like, boy, I wish this was my collection. There's so many, wonderful pieces in there that I can see why you can't pare it down. You got to bring them all.
But
But
we'll try and speed through them, and I'll keep my commentary to a minimum so that we can get through more pieces, and hopefully everyone will like what they see.
Exactly. Well, why don't we always do origin stories first here. If you've watched any of my shows on the channel, you know that. So, take me back, young Tariq. What was the first comic book or character that turned you on? And if you say Galactus, then we've got maybe I might have to call that we might have to like call your a parent or something or a sibling to verify it. But how did this whole thing get started?
Well, I was born in Pakistan, but I grew up in the UK. I was basically 6 months old when my parents moved to the UK. And I am old enough to remember when 2000 AD first hit the stands, and that probably was my first real comic book. So I was indoctrinated in, thank you, TC. I was indoctrinated in more of the British sort of school of comic books. Um, 2000 AD was my first, but there were many others, and that was also around the time, the late 70s, early 80s, when Marvel UK
Hmm.
was just getting started, and the British version of Marvel was actually they were weekly reprints, black and white reprints. So I got to read a lot of the American comics, but they came out packaged, 4 or 5 stories in a larger size weekly edition that I would pick up. There used to be a Hulk weekly. There used to be Titans. There used to be all kinds of Spider-Man weekly, all kinds of periodicals. And then ultimately, I then did finally discovered the actual American comic books as well, which I had to travel a little further. I grew up in Manchester and Bradford, so I had to go into the city center with my parents, to W.H. Smith, and that's where I found the actual American the color comic books. And I, as a kid, I was even surprised that why are these smaller and why are they printed in color? But the price was in pence, so I knew they were British. At least that's what I thought as a kid. So that love affair with comics just continued, and clearly I have a lot of white hair and it hasn't stopped. So it's
Was it a lot, if you were reading them in black and white, I mean, was it a little shocking just to, see what the actual costume colors were and that sort of thing? I mean, I can't imagine
yes.
going from black and white to a color comic.
Yes, it was, like the color of the X-Men costumes. I was reading reprints, black and white reprints, and then when I saw the color version, blew my mind, and the colors made a lot of sense as well. Similarly with the Avengers, I was reading black and white, and then when I discovered the color version, the colors made a lot of sense. It blew my mind.
Which one
Uh,
disappointed you the most, though?
hmm,
I mean, did you
I don't.
picture Spider-Man in red and blue? I mean, that's like when you think about a spider and a man. I mean, red and blue to me probably
I
isn't
think
the
there
two
was
colors that
enough.
would come to mind.
There were enough images of Spider-Man and Captain America and
So you
Hulk
knew it wasn't a shock.
that there wasn't any doubt about their costume colors. But some of the back in the early '80s, some of the lesser known characters probably I didn't know that, like, they weren't on a packet of crisps, as we call them, or a packet of or a cereal box. Like, those were usually the places where you would get to see that stuff.
Right.
And then in parallel, I also absorbed a lot of TV science fiction as a kid, British science fiction. So I'm a dyed-in-the-wool Whovian. Uh, the Fourth Doctor is my doctor, Tom Baker.
Hmm.
And also saw a lot of original Star Trek, Space 1999, all that stuff. So I guess it was being exposed to comics in print, and all kinds of comics in print, and then also on TV, watching all of this stuff. And then around, what was it, 1977, when Star Wars came out, the whole science fiction scene exploded. So my mind basically melted as a kid, and to this day, I think it's kind of it's loving the constant melt. It's in a state of constant sci-fi meltdown. Hey, Dave.
Hey, Carlos has a question here. Is there a TMD too?
Well, if there is, he needs to introduce himself to me. I haven't met him yet,
Not related, if there is one. Well,
or
then this is
maybe she.
that is true. That is true. So this backstory you're giving me I think it leads into more of the science fiction, space oriented characters that you seem to have an affinity for. I mean, if Doctor Who, 2000 AD, I mean, they don't really fit in the spandex world perfectly, right? I guess Galactus could be considered to have spandex on, but not really. Um, but you're mentioning Space 1999. I mean, I love that, right? The Fourth Doctor is my doctor. I got to see him on PBS. After you, I'm sure. I don't know. I'm sure I was watching reruns, but that's how I got exposed to Doctor Who as well. So yeah, same era.
Jeff
Definitely.
Wedding gets the Space 1999 reference as well.
I love that. One of the most frightening episodes of Space 1999. It like haunts me to this day. I always have a nightmare about that space alien that was like
The
in the
Space
corner.
Dragon.
Yeah, the thing that was like sucking everything up. I mean, that was. I still have nightmares to this day. I don't know why.
That's an amazing episode.
It
I, I,
was. It
I
was. It
I
was
watch it
incredible.
at least once a year just to remind myself how good it was.
I haven't gone back to watch it once since the first time I watched it. I mean, so that's a good what, I guess almost 40, 35 years. I should go back and look at that. See if it holds up. It must hold up if you're still watching it once a year.
Well, temper your expectations, but you'll be able to relive what you felt when you watched it the first time.
Awesome. No, that sounds great. So where do we go from there then? I mean, when do you get to the States? Where does do you actually go all into comics at some point and collect a bunch of books? And are they still do you have like long boxes to the left and right of you right now? I mean,
Much to my wife's chagrin, I do. Yes. My kids, my wife, they all hate the fact that my garage is full of long boxes. I live in California in the Bay Area, so we don't have basements, unfortunately. But yeah, it's been pretty much a lifelong passion, collecting comic books, reading comic books. And I really didn't stumble into original art until I think the best way to put it is my midlife crisis was original art. I'd loved comic books and kept reading them my whole life. So it wasn't as if I was going to, have a midlife crisis by buying more comic books or buying more expensive comic books. But I did decide to. I think it was around 2019. I decided to just go to comic conventions. I'd never gone to them before,
mhm.
and started going to a few local ones here in the Bay Area. And at one of them, which was I believe, in Stockton, which is around an hour's drive from where I live, I bumped into Art Adams, and he was sitting there. And I think this is back when you could actually find him at a smaller con, and you could walk up to him without there being a long line going around the corner. It's not that easy nowadays to approach him. So I just bumped into him, and I asked him, "Do you have any? Do you have any drawings? Do you have any art?" And he pulled out a Wolverine piece. I actually didn't pull it out for the show today, but it's in my CAF gallery. And that actually turned out to be the first piece of art I ever purchased from an artist directly. So I came home and I just couldn't believe that I had an original piece of Art Adams art. I had admired Art's work for years and years and years, and it was just happenstance that he happened to live not far away from where I live and was attending a Comic Con. So then I was hooked, right? Then I was hooked. Then I said, then I needed to get more. And so I think I was traveling for business in Chicago that year, and I was attending a conference. And right after the conference, I just went over to a Comic Con that was happening in Chicago, not far away. Jumped into an Uber, went over, and there I bumped into Mike Zeck. And little did I know that that was probably one of the last cons that Mike Zeck did. But I
Mhm.
was able to pick up a really nice headshot of Captain America, and another really nice headshot of the Punisher. And so, I mean, the feedback loop started. I was going nuts with this stuff. It was amazing. And these were my childhood sort of the ideal artists that I admired even as a kid, or even as a teenager. So that sort of started in 2019, and probably around early 2020, I went to my last con before COVID. So yeah, in 2019, I went to New York Comic Con. That was my first big con, and I went crazy. I bought art from everybody that I liked. And then I went to C2E2 early 2020, and then after that, COVID hit. And that's where CAF comes in. That's where your YouTube channel comes in. Bill, that's where you come in. Because at that point, I was really addicted to art. I hadn't actually yet purchased published art, but I was just getting commissions from various artists. And then when the world shut down, I had nowhere to go. And then I saw on YouTube your channel and your show, and I still remember the first show you did. It's hard to believe it was that long ago.
It,
And
yeah,
and I and I was hooked.
wow.
And so You're the reason why I've doubled down and really gone deep into comic art. And your show is the reason why I've built up a collection that we're going to share with the audience today.
Well, I was just checking. Yeah, you created your account in August of 2019. So yeah, that is the timing couldn't have been better. Yeah, and that was just an interesting time for us too, right? I mean, we all had needed something to do, and uh, I'm impressed that you stumbled into all that, and you weren't turned off by me hanging out with Glenn and Will and Mike so much, or in the early days in those live streams. But it was fun. It was like we were all kind of finding our way in the hobby and what to do when we couldn't go to shows anymore. And I look back on that time as it was very I was inspired. I really was. I was kind of coasting in the hobby for like 3 or 4 years leading up to that, but that time was just I was more energized. I mean, I'm probably more energized now, but at that moment, I couldn't believe how much fun the hobby was for me, and that's really to me that's wonderful to hear that it was that kind of got you more energized and interested in being an art collector in this hobby of ours.
Absolutely. I think without the show, without uh, the sort of the community that you've built, Bill, I probably would have just kept bouncing from one con to another, and maybe I would have met with a few artists here or a few artists there. But connecting with the community, making friends with the community, and week after week, seeing how different collectors have built up their collections, what their tastes are, what kind of comic art they like, and the reasons they like it. And being exposed to that on a regular basis has completely transformed the way I look at the hobby. So, for better or for worse, Bill, you're to blame.
Well, I don't mind hearing that. I think yeah, I think it's wonderful, honestly. But I have to ask though. So you pick up a kind of a Wolverine sketch from Art Adams, and then Captain America or whatnot from Zach. What was the first published piece that you picked up?
It's one of the pieces we have that we'll show today. It's
Okay.
you'll see a lot of Art Adams, or I'll talk about him because he is my favorite artist. And it was the cover to Thor 1. I
Mm.
think it's the variant cover that Art Adams did to Thor 1, the Donny Cates run. And I couldn't believe when I picked it up. I couldn't believe that he had it sitting there on his table, and that at that precise moment, I walked up to him and he had it available. It's a phenomenal cover, and yeah, it was my first published piece. And then after that, I got into some of these art drops, and big shout out to Felix here. Felix is he's one of my enablers,
Uh-huh. I was just gonna
and
say he's more of an enabler than I am. He's started many people down this
yeah,
path of art collecting as well. I mean, I'd put him on par with anybody out there. Just he does a great job marketing. He hits the socials really well, and uh, he does a great job representing his artists and the work they do.
he does. And when I started sort of purchasing published art, one of the first dealers that I interacted with and picked up art from was Felix. And these were the days when Silver Surfer Black was being dropped. Little did we know. Little did we know. I was able to pick up a few Tradmore pieces then. Unfortunately, I sold them all, which is one of the biggest regrets I have. I should not have done that. Cautionary tale. But this is really just around the 2019 2020 timeframe
Hmm.
when that art was coming out, and I do have a trad piece that we'll show off today, but unfortunately, it's not a Silver Surfer Black. It's Doctor Strange piece that he did. But many of my pieces are from Felix, and I love the sort of the portfolio of artists that he has, and that's reflected in my collection also.
Yeah, you definitely have quite a few works of his artists in your collection. I went through your CAF gallery earlier today just to see what pieces you had there that we weren't going to be showing tonight to get a feel for that. But before we start looking at art, I have no idea what you probably know what Casper meant by this. It has, I'm sure it's a Manchester reference, but Man City or Man U, I don't know what that means. Can you elaborate?
Manchester City or Manchester United Football Club. So
Ah,
this
okay.
is the
Football. All right.
European version of football,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if you're a Mancunian and you grow up in Manchester, you're either supposed to support the red or the blue. And because I was a contrarian, much to my misfortune, I actually supported Manchester City growing up. And all the kids in school didn't like it. They didn't, because everybody else supported Manchester United, and I still think they do. But I guess that was my contrarian streak. See, ML supports
I was
Man
gonna
City as
say
well. Yeah,
you have something else in common with Mikhail.
yeah, yeah. He's a little brother. He's a cool dude.
Yeah, he's got good taste in art too. He was one of the first collectors we ever interviewed. I mean, I assume you must remember that. I forget what episode that was, but I think it was like Glenn brought him into that, or I remember saying, "Hey, we've got this guy, ML. He'd like to, he says he'd do an interview with us," and it was when we were doing, Mike, Glenn, and Will, and I with one guest. It was kind of overpowering, but Mikhail was up for the challenge of that. See, that's why I don't want to go back and watch those. I don't know how we handled that, or how the person we were interviewing handled that, but. Congrats to Mikhail for suffering through that early stage in our interview cycle. All right,
There's a
so
lot of people who were pioneers along with you back then, and I'm a relative latecomer to the scene compared to them. But yeah, I remember all those interviews, and they were, regardless of how you think about them and how you recollect them, the fact is that they got us up and running. The whole community rallied around those initial conversations and interviews, and here we are, 4 years later.
yeah, very true. Uh, yeah, there was forums out there. CAF sort of had its own way of communicating through comments, but yeah, the live streams were a revelation, I think, for all of us. Just again, I got to meet people and talk to people that I had never met in person before, but it had been me emailing with for 15 years or something at that point. So I was loving every minute of it, and then the interactions in the chat, all of that just helped me realize how important CAF was to everybody, because I really didn't talk to people about what they were getting out of CAF, but it was clear from that time period that friendships were made, and collecting circles were knitted together that exists to this day, and CAF was part of all that. Again, just very refreshing and great to see, and I think that made me even more excited to keep working on different things. Now, related to CAF, now Kazra says that, are the Stone Roses the greatest band of all time? I assume that must be another Manchester reference. But I mean, for me, my favorite band of all time is from Manchester, and probably nobody knows who they are, but it's a band called the Chameleons UK. So I would say no on the Stone Roses. But Tariq, do you have an answer for Kazra on that one?
I do, and I think I'll just have to say that the greatest band of all time is the Beatles. I'm
Ah, there you
sorry.
go.
I'm sorry.
All right. Well, you got us both on that one. Rich Danny's loves the Stone Roses, though. Okay,
Oh,
that's good.
I love the Stone Roses as well, but the greatest band of all time is a big claim. Kind of like number one Galactus Art Collector.
It's on the same level as that. That's for sure. Well, you know what? We should just start looking at some artwork, or we could, because there's so much here to look at, and it's all great. But again, I appreciate hearing all of that, Tariq. Really, to me, we were all doing it together, right? I mean, it was a group effort. I wouldn't have been, interviewing people or talking through all the different things and topics we had early on if there wasn't people willing to hang out and listen to it, right? And that's, I think that's what led to us doing the first virtual shows and now doing OAX. All of these things kind of evolved out of those early, group conversations that we were doing in the live streams. And I mean, the app's going to be out any day, all that stuff. That so many great things happen because the pandemic kind of got all this stuff rolling for whatever reason, and we all got to you know, realize how much this hobby and the friendships within it meant to us.
Well, I'll take a moment to just say and just comment, Bill, that the evolution over the past 4.5 years has been remarkable to witness. And the fact that you're now at the point where you're about to do the second OAX and you're about to launch the app is absolutely amazing. And I think you and Kazra and the team should feel really proud of that. What you've accomplished is not insignificant by any means. I haven't seen I'm not part of a ton of hobbies, but I don't think I've seen the evolution of a hobby the way that I've seen the evolution of the comic art collecting hobby, and the way that you and your team have driven it and galvanized it. So starting out with a website and then going into YouTube shows, but now actually your own show, your own physical show, and the second edition of that show, and having an app to go with it is it's really professional, and it's a real business. So I mean, I probably don't have enough words to say how much that means to me, how much that means to the community, but more importantly, what it means to the hobby itself. So I think you're driving the hobby right up there uh, into the so you're taking comic art and creating this category of narrative arts, or not creating but popularizing the category of narrative arts.
Mhm.
And I wouldn't be surprised in the next 5, 10 years we'll start seeing the narrative arts become more and more popular, and then one day it'll become mainstream, and then folks will say, some of us will be able to say we were there at the beginning.
Right, right. No, no, I appreciate hearing that. It's again, none of this would have happened if everybody wasn't supportive of it. I feel like I'm just kind of riding the wave. As a collector, remember, I mean, I built CAF because I wanted to be able to show off my collection. There wasn't anything else out there like it. I think we've always done, and I think Gazzer and anybody else on the team would say the same thing, is that we've always just basically built things that we wanted, and and it just so happens that everybody else wanted it too. And you can't. It's hard to go wrong when you're really following your heart and your desires within the hobby for yourself as well, because I think that that's what we've done, and it's worked. And Alberto is trying to remind you that brown nosing will not get you in early access to the OAX floor. So
So Alberto, is that what, when you praise someone, when you give them a genuine comment, is that because you want something from them, Alberto?
uh-oh, Alberto. He's he is the number one cap collector. I will give him that. If I were to ever do an interview, with Alberto again, I would change the title for that. But yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Um, Marcus says you just clinched first in line. So oh boy, I can't wait for OAX now. But yeah, I appreciate all of that, Tariq. Obviously, I feel like I'm doing what I think everybody else would like to do too, or and we're just providing those tools. I saw a question about is the app out there yet? Not quite. It's totally approved. Honestly, it's a little bit down to us to just kind of wrap up. They like to have their screenshots and how it gets presented in the App Store, and we got it approved for iOS first, and Google Play. The developer kept telling me to create my Google Play account, and I dragged my feet because of all the other things we had going on. So I got that created last week. So we're trying to do the release where it'll happen simultaneously. I don't know if that's going to work though, because iOS is ready and Google is close, but not quite. So, could it be out by Friday? I sure as heck hope so, because I want I want everybody to get in there and start having some fun with it too.
We'll wait with bated breath.
Stingray's not happy with the iOS version. What am I going to say, man? It is what it is. But I can't wait for everybody to have an experience with the app. But here, let's talk. We even get to start off. Everything's alphabetical, and ironically, an Alan Davis Galactus piece with Phoenix in it, no less, is the piece we get to start off with.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces. Obviously, there's a cosmic element to this piece. The fact that it's Galactus versus Phoenix just brings out my inner geek. Love this. I don't know if there's that many instances in the comics where you see Galactus go up against Phoenix. To me, it's a match that I'd love to see more of. Phoenix Force versus Galactus would be amazing to see, just a whole storyline around that. Um, but the fact that Alan Davis did this and it's a full page splash, there's even a little squiggly Stan Lee signature in the lower left corner. Um, I think Marcus made the comment when the comments were being left on this piece that the Stan Lee signature seems to be flowing from the Phoenix, which is very interesting. I wonder if Stan was thinking of that when he signed the piece. But yeah, it's just this is from Excalibur, from Alan Davis's run on Excalibur, and yeah, I wish and does more of these types of pieces, and I wish Marvel does more of these types of stories. For me, it's the sweet spot. Phoenix versus Galactus, the two cosmic entities, universe, multiverse level entities, and just going at it, and let's see who wins. So yeah, plus you get all these elements, the Kirby-esque elements, the Galactus machinery, the crackle in the background. What's not to love?
Hmm. Now, you didn't get Stan to sign this, right? I assume you bought it with the signature.
No, I got this off of Comic Link, and it came with the signature.
Hmm.
There's a lot of pieces that have been on auctioned on Comic Link recently that had Stan's signature. So I don't know if they came from one collector or multiple, but I was lucky to have his signature on this one.
Yeah, no, I know there's a lot of those Campbell pieces covers that have had Stan's signature on them that we always kind of point out. Stan signed wherever he was told or wherever he wanted to. I think he just looked for an open space. But no, this is fantastic. I have I ever owned anything by Alan Davis? No, but I always admire his work. And again, he's got the UK vibe, and pedigree with him as well. So he's worked on a lot of non big two books. So I think that yeah, this is a great pickup, and clearly a well-loved pickup amongst other X collectors or Galactus collectors out there.
Yep, James's comment is I see he says that it's one of his favorites of mine. This one. So obviously an Arthur Adams piece, and I think this was shortlisted. Bill, if you remember, I think was it last year? This was, or maybe the year before that. This was one of the finalists for, I don't know what the category was, but it was in your awards
Oh, the best of,
list.
right?
Yeah, in your best of list. Um, so this is a commission that I asked Arthur to, and I discussed with him the sort of the tone and the posture that I wanted Galactus to have. This is very reminiscent of a cover that he had previously done. I think it was a cover for the Ultimates title. And so he did a different one, but it had the same elements. And I got to say, when I saw this, I was absolutely thrilled with what he'd done, because if you can see that signature cross hatching, Arthur Adams cross hatching across the top, it's very heavy on Galactus's helmet, and those I don't know what you call those appendages coming out from his helmet. What would you call those, Bill? I don't know if I've ever come up with a
I don't
name
know.
for
His
them.
his his antenna. I have no
Is
idea.
Yeah, maybe their antenna.
I have no
Um,
idea. Mikhail might know. He built a Galactus helmet, if I
right,
recall
Mikhail, if
correctly.
you know what they're called, put it in the chat. But then sort of the billowing smoke behind that, all that detail packed into that area. And then as you scan downwards, he's packed less detail into the rest of the body, and then the clouds or the smoke surrounding that in the lower two-thirds is in contrast to the upper one-third. So I just loved how he kept that distinction between the top and the lower part. I mean, if he had just packed his distinct detail throughout the piece, I don't think it would have looked as distinct. And you can actually see the lighting and yeah, Gil gets it absolutely that the lighting is done such that he had been thinking about how this would be colored when it's published. So it started out as a commission, but then it actually did get published, picked up as a cover for one of the Fantastic Four issues. I don't remember which one exactly, but when you see this commission and just the sheer amount of excellence that Art put into it, no wonder it got picked up and got published. So this is one of my very favorite Arthur Adam commissions, and I think when I think about Galactus as a character and the menace he brings, and just sort of the poise he brings, especially because he's a titan, he's a giant. I think of Arthur Adams, and to me, in terms of the modern day artists and their renditions of Galactus, he is by far the best when it comes to this character.
He's done a lot of memorable images, that's for sure. It's funny, it doesn't hit you at first, and probably if you saw it colored, you would. But you're right, the lighting is so dramatic when you look at how, from the mask here to his shoulder pads or whatever, the top of his legs. Clearly, he's in front of something very bright. But that really is wonderful that he did at least add the signature cross hatching and kind of the smoke kind of the tick marks he puts in around here are very reminiscent. Whenever I see that, I think of Robert Crumb, right? There's a little bit of
Yeah.
something in there that's reminiscent of Crumb's work. But yeah, it's a fantastic piece. And you got the dream here by commissioning a piece, doing a little bit of art direction, and then you get it published as a cover as well. That's every collector's dream. And yeah, you couldn't have had
It
that happen with a better artist.
Yeah, it was super. I was super lucky, and I to this day when I look at this piece, I'm just reminded of how fortunate I am, not only to be in this hobby, but also to be able to get commissions from major talents like Art Adams, and it doesn't happen every day that he does these types of full size commissions, and they're becoming increasingly rare. So I feel very fortunate to have this in my collection.
Well, there was a lot of debate on the tuners. Mark Fong said he thought that they could have been inspired by some China headpieces, but tuners were mentioned. Where was that? Stingray said handlebars. Rich Danny said fluke.
Handlebars,
Yeah,
right?
and Mikhail, of course, said galactic tuners. So there you go.
Tuners, as in tuning forks.
Yeah,
Maybe.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
think, I
yeah.
think we can go with that. Tuners is better than antenna, so I like that.
That's
Uh,
that's really cool.
Yeah, but no, that is amazing. I'm envious of that. And you read about it every once in a while on a Facebook post. Somebody whose piece got picked up. I saw what was it? Antoine wanted to know when a commission gets picked up as a cover, who gets paid. Well, typically the artist holds the copyright still on the piece, so the artist is the one who maintains the right to get it published. So they would be the ones to get paid. But as a collector, you end up winning too because that $6,000 piece you paid for 4 years ago is now worth $30,000 because it's a published Art Adams cover. So yeah, you can't go who won that one, because Art might only get his cover rate, which God only knows what that is, a couple $1,000s or whatever. So at least he got paid twice. But yeah, that's how it would usually work. You're not going to tell me, Tariq, that Marvel slipped you some money when this thing got published, are
Oh
you?
no, 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 not at all.
All right.
But the funny thing is, Bill, that I actually did have that dialogue with Arthur.
Hmm.
And I congratulated him when this cover got picked up as when this commission got picked up as a cover. And he, without hesitation, he said, "No, congratulations to you. You own the piece, and whatever the appreciation is going to be for you, not for me." So
Right. Well, he
he
knows what
he
his
knew
market.
exactly he knew exactly what had happened, because it wasn't the first time. There's I think many of his commissions have been picked up over the years as covers.
I mean, as well they should, right? I mean, you think about the piece that Michael Lovitz has, right? The FF piece that has a tremendous number of views on it. Galactus is, you know, very, very prominently featured on that. Yeah, why not? I mean, it seems like everything Art does when he's doing this level of commission could easily become a cover.
He is amazing, no doubt. He is one of the artists that consistently amazes me. Every time I see him draw, even if he's doing a little tiny sketch card, it amazes me how much detail he packs into it and how distinctive but consistent his style is.
Hmm.
Whether he's drawing Craven, the Punisher, the Hulk, or a female character like Mary Jane Watson, he consistently delivers. And there's many talented artists that I like, as you will see as we go through the art. But if I had to pick one that consistently delivers every time, it's Art Adams.
I'm with you there. I mean, you know exactly what you're going to get when you commission him before a show. You know, but again, here, a incredible Thor piece here. I'm jealous.
Yeah, so this is the first published piece that I picked up. This is the one we were talking about. And I couldn't believe my luck when I actually was able to pick this up from him. I just couldn't believe that it was sitting there waiting for me, and the universe allowed it to happen, that I got this one. Um, I can't say that I'm a huge Thor fan as much as you, Bill, but
Mhm.
I when I look at this piece, I can't help but love Thor the character, and then the Art Adams rendition of it. Look at the way he draws the helmet, gives it that characteristic shine. You can actually feel the sort of the circularity of the helmet, and then the way he puts the wings on the helmet doesn't feel rushed in any way. They actually look like the Art Adams rendition of Thor helmet wings. And then I love the posture in this cover. He's holding Mjolnir up, but he's crouching, and I have a hard time figuring out whether he's looking up at the viewer and he's sort of crouching down, looking up, or is he looking horizontally at the viewer? Sometimes it seems a little bit like an optical illusion, but you can see that he's done a lot of foreshortening of the lower half of the body, but still brought out the strength of the legs and the feet. And then obviously both fists are very, very visible. The muscularity of the arms and the fists are very visible. And that stern, determined expression says it all. Thor is ready to go to battle, and you don't want to mess with him.
Exactly. Yeah, and I thought what Mike just mentioned, a lot of Kirby influence in the foreshortening on the posture of the character. You're right. No, it's fantastic. He's going to kick Galactus's rear end, I think, is what's. If he should have just drawn those tuning forks, as the image in the helmet, and we would have known. There you go, Chuck Arnold telling dad jokes in the chat, Chuck.
Foreshortening. Chuck, I get accused of making dad jokes all the time. So I'm gonna take that as a compliment.
Well,
Foreshortening.
a great first published piece for you to pick up. And it looks like if it's framed, I take it because I think I see a reflection in his kneecap, or am I just completely missing that?
No, I haven't framed it.
Oh,
I think
interesting.
it's just
Just miss. Oh, it's because it's an
the
ink blot,
way he used them, whatever he was using,
right?
the tip that he uses traditionally. I
Well,
think you can see the strokes going up.
good question though, because we don't see any artwork on the wall behind you. And you mentioned your wife doesn't like looking at the long boxes. So do you have any artwork hanging on the walls? And if so, by which artists are you allowed to hang art from?
I have a few prints, but no, I actually do not have art hanging on the walls. Mine is a home where I uh, treat my family with a lot of respect, which means whatever they want to put on the walls, they put on the walls. I keep my art in folders. So no, I'm unfortunately not able to put it up in the drawing room and the TV room or other places. I just keep it with me or in folders, and maybe one day my wife will let me, but
Mhm.
until then I'm behaving myself.
Nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. You got to keep the family happy. Definitely understand that. Fortunate. Whoa, hey, look at that. Well, like jumping ahead. Preview, everybody. We don't want you to see everything. Oh, there we go. All right. Well, this isn't Art Adams. It's not Galactus, but it's a another stellar character. And this one looks like it's McGinnis.
Yep, it's Ed McGuinness from the Jason Aaron Avengers run, Avengers 27, splash page. And I have a number of pieces from Ed. I think well, first of all, he's a really nice guy. Just a one of the nicest artists that I've dealt with, and uh, I haven't actually met him, but we've corresponded by email. Um, but what I like about this piece more than anything else, I mean, I like his pieces in general, but this one just shows a sense of energy about the Silver Surfer. And if you scroll down a little bit, you can see right behind the surfer's board, he's created this after stream or ripple effect. And in the story, Norrin Rad is racing through space trying to get somewhere, trying to save someone. But the sense of speed that he's created here is mind blowing to me. This is one of the best pieces I've seen from Ed,
Mhm.
even though he's done so many different characters. He's done the Red Hulk, the Green Hulk. He's done the Avengers, Spider-Man, you name it. But for me, this is the piece that I think of the most when I think of Ed McGuinness, because he's just taken all his signature energy and kineticism and put it right into the posture of the Silver Surfer, the way that he's leaning forward with his fists forward. And again, he has a that steely look. But the effect behind the board is just, to me, is mind blowing. And when you see the color version as well, it just shows how much speed the surfer has in this picture. So one of my favorite splashes, and definitely my favorite piece by Mr. McGuinness.
Well, I can see why. I mean, you're right. I mean, when you think of Ed's work, you think a lot of Hulk imagery, and because he can draw Hulk as good as anybody. But yeah, this is a really awesome piece. You're right. I mean, the motion that he's got in there, he was using a straight edge a lot on this one. And I've actually never gotten to meet Ed either, but we had him on that interview at the
That's right,
Comic
yeah.
Art Live. I got to talk to him for an hour that when his camera didn't work. So I really,
But his camera wasn't on. So you still haven't actually, at least I
I have
haven't still actually
right.
seen him. I've seen photos of him.
I was thinking of just
Yeah.
throwing up his picture while we talked, and if I felt that would look too weird talking to it. So at any rate, but no, I love Ed's work, and this is an incredible example. So yeah, you're
And
no, did you buy this?
Stingray has it right, that
Ah,
Silver Surfer is moving so fast he's setting space on fire. That's exactly the feeling you get when you see this splash page. It's like the hydrogen in space is just ignited because of the friction coming from the board. He's moving so fast.
mhm.
So yeah, spot on.
Wow. Now, did you buy this direct from Ed?
I did. And I was very fortunate that he didn't let go of it immediately. I think he kept a hold of it for a couple of years because he also liked this piece a lot. But I'd asked him when he let it go if he could sell it to me, and he did. So I'm very fortunate.
Well, he does use CAF, so that's that's I've always been happy. He's one of the few artists, like a Bob Layton. And Bob doesn't use it as much anymore, but I'm always happy when an artist of that stature uses the site either to promote their sales or at least just keep showing the pieces that they have that they're not letting go of. Now,
Absolutely. Yeah,
I had to do a double take. Barry Windsor Smith.
that's right. A Barry Windsor Smith Galactus. Uh, Again, one of those pieces that I couldn't believe when it fell into my lap. This was a part of a drop from Albert a
Mhm.
few years ago. And in fact, probably the first piece I picked up from Albert, if I'm not mistaken. And very Kirby-esque, so a little more chunky than usual for Barry. But you can obviously see that he's trying to evoke that classic Galactus look.
Mhm.
You see the hand reaching out towards the viewer, so that menacing big hand, almost Doctor Doomish in a sense, but distinctively Galactus. And then in order to give the sort of the right perspective and the size, he has the buildings in the background, and then you can even see the BWS signature on one of the buildings in the background right there. So the expression isn't as menacing as some of the other renditions of Galactus that we'll see, that we have seen or will see. But just the fact that it's Barry Windsor Smith and he's evoking Kirby, to me, makes this a very special piece. And I don't have it with me. I didn't pull it out, but he actually did a sketch of another sketch of Galactus on the reverse of this piece. And I think he was trying out his Kirby look for Galactus. So he did a head and shoulders, sort of a bust,
Mhm.
or like a headshot of Galactus on the back with a pencil. So really a nice piece, and lots of value from Albert on that one.
Well, Albert's set many a collectors off into the hobby in different ways. But yeah, this is great though. I mean, it's a trading card art, I think is the note on it. And
That's right.
while a lot of this is, you don't see the reason I didn't think Windsor Smith at first was because I was looking at the buildings. But when you look into the line, the shading, like in through here where he has those like razor cut lines that he uses, when he does his inking. I mean, right away that that's Barry. I mean, irregardless of him kind of riffing on a Kirby pose and maybe a Kirby cityscape in a way. As soon as you see that, Barry, did the work on this. It's really nice, and I had no
Yeah,
idea.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I had no idea he did any work for any trading cards. I'm gonna probably find out that he did more than than his fair share. But yeah, this is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah,
Or,
definitely. So it inspires me to acquire more pieces from Barry. I haven't done a good job of that at all.
mhm.
But hopefully in the future, I'll be able to diversify into some non-Galactus Barry Windsor Smith's pieces as well. They're few and far between, but they do tend to hit the market infrequently.
Well, congrats on this one. Were you quick on an art drop with Albert? Is that how you saw it and you made it yours right away?
Yeah, most of these pieces they fall under the category of no hesitation.
Hmm.
They're just, I see the piece and I go for it. But yeah, that definitely is how I acquired that one. Well, this one, Bill, I think you will remember because this was not only a finalist in the best art category the first iteration of the awards,
Hmm.
but you actually gave it an award, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact category, but you've definitely featured this. And for me, I mean, I'm a big Bernie Wrightson fan. Many of us are, and we cannot say enough about Bernie's work and just the master that he was. But for me, this piece is particularly special because it's Batman. So I love Bernie's rendition of Batman, just the elongated ears, just larger than usual ears, and then the texture that he gives to Batman's cape and cowl, and even his gloves. But more than that, it's the way he uses the lighting. And this is probably a theme amongst many of the pieces that I like. It's the way the light and the dark are juxtaposed with each other. That gargoyle that Batman is leaning on is macabre, to say the least. I mean, you could just look at the gargoyle and the expression of the gargoyle and be amazed at how much talent Wrightson had. But then when you start casting your gaze downwards to where the gargoyle intermingles with the sort of the concrete wall or whatever you want to, that turret, if you want to call it that, and the shadow that you see there, it is masterful. CJ Design has it absolutely right. It's his lighting was beyond master level. And then once you're past the actual figure of Batman and the gargoyle, you look behind them, you see that it's all white. It's just all white, which is truly the sign of a master because he knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't feel the need to put a single blob of ink on the background beyond what he was illustrating in terms of the walls and the gargoyle. That was it. And I don't think I've seen a published version of this. This is a commission, so I don't think, and maybe the chat can tell me if anybody there has seen it. But I don't think I've seen a published version of this where the background was shaded dark. So this is truly masterful level, beyond masterful level, as CJ puts it, lighting and the fact that the background is just all white is to me makes this very special. In fact, Bill, I did pull this piece out, so if you put the camera on me, I'll show this to everyone so they can see it in person. I mean, in real time.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it's nighttime, and his choice not to kind of fill in the blacks for the background, for the sky is smart. I mean, he knew what he was evoking, and he didn't need to really do any more. And but it's wise because it just draws your focus in on the Batman and the gargoyle so much. Without that, it might not have had the same impact. But yeah, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, this is one of my forever pieces. This is just an example of what Bernie was capable of, and it's hard to beat. I've seen other pieces that he's done featuring Batman. They're all beautiful pieces, but this one is very special to me.
Mike wanted to know if you knew what the year was. I know it's not written on the front of it.
Oh, Mike, I do not know, but if I go back and look at I got this from Heritage,
Hmm.
so if I look at the description, I'm sure it'll be in there. I'm sorry, but I can definitely follow up on that. So
Wow.
this is one of the fruits of the first OAX, Bill.
Oh, I know. I remember this piece. It's so amazing. Washak is an incredible talent who's really, he's getting the accolades that he's always deserved. I mean, it's funny how a couple high profile jobs finally, gets everybody to realize how talented somebody is, right? But it's wonderful to see. I mean, John's such a nice guy, and he's coming back to OAX and in January too. But boy, he is so talented.
He is without a doubt. And I'd always followed his particular style of illustration and his work. He'd always leaned more towards um, what you would call the macabre or horror, the darker side of comics and illustration. And he wasn't the obvious choice to illustrate Galactus, but I had a gut feeling about him and his work. I kind of felt that if I gave him the assignment of illustrating Galactus with Silver Surfer, he was going to knock it out of the park. And in fact, Bill, I pulled this one out if you want to go big on me here, just so that folks can see the amount of detail he's packed into this. Uh, I mean, he vindicated my choice 1,000 times over. Just look at the amount of detail he's packed into Galactus's face, and then the eyes, especially. What I really liked about the way he did it is he's shown the eyes. He kind of gets that Galactus shoots rays out of his eyes, and so he had those that effect of burn marks around the eye sockets, which I thought was quite unique and I hadn't seen before. The angle is bottom up, sort of so from the feet looking upwards, so you can see the board from the Silver Surfer, and you can see the cosmic power coming out of Norin Rad's hands as well. But right there at the top, looming large as this cosmic presence is the indifferent, magnificent Galactus, as done by Wayshak.
Yeah, that's fantastic. There were so many great commissions that came out of OAX last year, and
Yeah, and this was the largest option that Wayshak had, which I took immediately. Yep, Hazra, you're right. He's a madman. He's absolutely insane, and he knocked this one out of the park. So if anybody's considering, I don't know if he has any slots left, but if anybody's considering getting something from Wayshak, my advice is go for it.
yeah, I think well, I did manage to get on his list for a Thor, but
Oh, that's going to be amazing. I can't
yeah.
wait to see that one.
Well, and he because he and just, he is sold out. So anybody who was thinking they
Oh,
could get on the list, unfortunately, yeah, it didn't take long either. He actually had a fairly not a large number, but more, it wasn't like five, commissions he was going to take. I think he, maybe had 12 or something, but they filled up in less than a day, really. I think because again, people saw pieces like this and the card artwork that he got to do over the last couple of years, and yeah, everybody wants a Waycheck in their collection now, even me. And I think I was the last one too. I sat back for a little while and then I realized, I knew I wanted to get one of these, and it looks like it might sell out. And he actually said, "All right, yeah, I'll add you on, Bill." But I was like the last one, and it felt like a little bit of a pity commission there, because I was like, I kind of waited, and then I didn't think it was going to happen that fast. So anyway, but congrats on this. It's absolutely amazing. And again, it's uh, seeing the commissions kind of flow through already, the ones that we're helping facilitate. I can already, it's going to be so much fun seeing the pieces that come out of OAX again, because not all artists do pre-show commissions like they do for OAX. You look at what Sean Gordon Murphy did last year for 8 people, the pieces that Adam Hughes did, that he never takes commissions, and so yeah, it's just wonderful to see the artists kind of putting out that extra effort to help make OAX special. And that so again, seeing a piece like that's incredible. Now where are we going here? Because this one, oh, this is what are you gonna say? I mean, that second panel is mind-boggling. Look at that.
this is Trad Moore,
Hmm.
and Trad is just. I mean, what can I say that Felix hasn't already said, or other folks haven't already said? He is truly trailblazer, groundbreaking. He is one of the most unique and striking artists to come out over the past several years. And when you look at the way he illustrates and you look at the actual line work that he has on the page, it's nothing short of mind-boggling how he does what he does. Not only is he an excellent artist, but he's also an excellent draftsman. He kind of has that Simonson-esque quality of being able to draft a page to tell a story. I mean, if you look at this page, which is from Fall Sunrise, as I mentioned at the beginning, I've regrettably lost my Silver Surfer Black pages, but and if ML is still in the chat, ML is very fortunate to have a complete issue. And he's a smart man. He will not let go of that issue. But here we have a Fall Sunrise, Doctor Strange Fall Sunrise page. And you can see these two sort of strip panels to the left where he's introducing visual elements. First, a little bit in the left panel, just that little piece of, I guess you can call it smoke at the top with the ellipse at the bottom. But then he visually connects those in the next panel to the right and starts filling in the details, and you can actually visually see what's happening. And then the three rectangles to the right of that show this character who's in the story appear. And then if you can enlarge the lower right corner here, Bill, you can see just the level of ornateness that he's put into the design of the armor of this knight who has multiple swords going through him. And you know, in many ways, you can the deeper you go, or the more you enlarge and magnify this, the more you get sucked into the image. And so it's one of my favorite Trad Moore illustrations, but I think in general it's also a really great example of the way he goes about storytelling. You know, you can see the sort of the psychedelic background there with the checkered flag, or that look of a checkered flag laid on the ground. It's just all around is an amazing image, and one of my favorite Trad Moore pieces.
Yeah, it is beautiful. Yeah, I love just doing the landscape here and the simple but jagged edges, and it all reads perfectly. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Trad doesn't do a lot of work now, or at least publish a lot of comic art.
Hmm.
His output is limited, but he has sort of struck a frequency of, I guess, maybe one project every 3 years. So I'm personally one of the people who's waiting with bated breath for when his next project comes out, and I can't wait to see which character he chooses and how he decides to illustrate that character, and then what elements he brings in from his armamentarium in order to make that a distinctive and striking look.
Hmm. Same here. Well, congrats on getting that one. Now, this is the piece that I think Marcus has been waiting for. And
This is the obligatory Mannix, yes. And Jiggy, if you're in the chat, big shout out to you, big shout out to Mannix. I love you guys. You guys are great. And this was I have a more than a few Mannix pieces, but this is the first cover recreation that I asked from Jiggy if Mannix would be able to do it, and Jiggy fortunately said yes. This is the GSX Giant Size X-Men cover. Probably one of my favorite covers of all time, if not my all-time favorite cover by Gil Kane. And this has the signature Mannix twist on it. Yeah, you can see the way he's adapted the limbs, the arms, the legs, the feet, the hands, and you have Colossus pointing like just like that towards the viewer. Uh, and then in the background, you have that Cyclops in the middle with Iceman, Marvel Girl, Angel, and Beast. So absolutely love this, and I think Mannix knocked it out of the park. I very much am in the market for another cover recreation from Mannix, and I have discussed it with Jiggy. I won't reveal what it is, but hopefully I'll be able to when I get it, I'll be able to put that on CAF, and folks will be able to see it then as well. But Mannix is just a world-class talent, and guys, get your Mannix while you can. One day he's going to be unassailable.
That's what I'm thinking. I know that his auction piece last year was fantastic that Josh and his wife picked up. Yeah, no, I've loved his work since I laid eyes on it at whatever it might have been the third or fourth Comic Art Live event that we had, and I picked up a Wolverine from him. Just clearly just a unique talent, and the idea that he's been working at this style and at this level for years before Jiggy kind of exposed him to the world for us all to appreciate. So you can respect the guy even more having that kind of tenure as an illustrator, and having a lot of popularity locally, but being able to kind of get out there in a global way and to be as appreciated. I mean, heck, Kezra's going around with his Scott Mannix shirt that Mikhail printed out for him and many others, and yeah, I mean, he is a celebrity, deservedly so. Lance has definitely picked up a lot of great pieces from him as well as many people on CAF have. And you're right. I mean, the more he puts out there, the more desirable his work is going to become.
Yeah, and just to address a comment in the chat, so I I was actually visiting my sister and brother-in-law in Manila earlier this year. I think it was January or February, and uh, Jiggy and I met up. We met up for breakfast, and that's where I discussed this. I said, "Do you think Mannix would do a cover recreation?" And that's kind of how the whole thing happened. And the first cover that came to mind was this one.
Hmm.
I could almost see the way in my mind at the time how Mannix would have done it, and that's exactly how it came out. So we do have another one that we've talked about, which I will not reveal. But when the time comes, it will debut on CAF.
Well, I can't wait to see it. Now, I remember this piece, although I didn't remember mailing it to you, as I recall. I think we can blame Maureen for that one, but you were mentioning British comics and things prior to that, and we looked at an Alan Davis to kind of get ourselves started, and so here's a piece of Brian Hitch art that you picked up from me, actually. And
That's right. Yeah.
and this
And
piece is, I mean, it is spectacular, but having seen it in person and the size, I mean, because this piece is like what, 16 by 20, something
it's
like that.
massive. It's
Yeah.
absolutely massive. I mean, first of all, Brian Hitch is a beast, absolute beast. The amount of detail he packs into his work is stunning. And I think the best description I ever read of Hitch's work, if you think back to what he did on the Ultimates and other such titles,
Hmm.
is that he draws in CinemaScope. Especially when you look at sort of his landscape or horizontal pages, which I also have a few of, which you uh,
Yes, you do, right. And well, that's the thing, I think he really invented, a style there with regards to doing
Yeah.
the a DP, a double page spread, really, because everybody can draw a splash, but he had a way with the way he handles the spread as a double page layout that is just very unique. I mean, you see a lot of artists kind of emulating that, but he was doing that. Around 2007, 2006, 2008, a lot. And I think it influenced a lot of people because there's just a different way to really look at how to handle two pages. And like when I had him on there, I really do feel he influenced the Marvel universe with the way he was handling the Ultimates. And yeah, he's got a very amazing eye. I mean, and I think it carries through to his red coat work too. We got to sell a few of those pieces during Comic Art Live, and again, it's just he's an amazing illustrator. He really is. So congrats to
Yeah.
getting this piece and the other pieces. But why did you pick this piece? Because you had Galactus pieces to choose from Brian.
I know. I figured there's so many other Galactus pieces. Why not go with Doom, just in case
Mhm.
somebody wanted to see a different villain? But for me, what really makes this piece special is look at the eyes. Look at the way the eyes are of Doom are peering out from the sockets. So not only is he reaching out at you, the viewer, which is in and of itself very uncharacteristic of Doom. Usually he has that that BWS Galactus we saw where the hand was outstretched in a menacing way. He
Mhm.
usually has that, but here it's more supplication. Because if you read the story, the Fantastic Four story, he actually does show up at Reed's doorstep and is asking for help.
Mhm.
But the eyes, it's almost as if he is asking for help, but he's going to double cross Reed with the first chance he gets. And so for
That's
me,
Doom for you.
yeah, I mean, for Brian to be able to convey that level of expression, just using those eye sockets in a mask was masterful. So that's why I chose the piece.
Well, no, this was a great pickup. So congrats on that. And I can let everybody know. Actually, the red coat artwork that was sold during Comic Art Live is in the mail to me right now. So I think I'll have it by Friday. And the good news is the pieces that didn't sell. He actually decided to send me everything that we had posted during Comic Art Live. So I'm waiting till I have the art in hand, and then I'll repost those to my CAF for the 18 pieces or so that didn't sell. So look for that next week at some point. But if I'm lucky, I'll get to do an unboxing on Thursday and look at the art fresh with everybody else too. Because yeah, I love his work, and yeah, this was a great pickup. Now I'm familiar with this one too, as a matter of fact.
Another purchase from you, Bill. But I mean, who doesn't love Fred Hembeck? What an amazing talent. He's been a pillar of the industry for decades now, and he has this distinctive style that we all know and love. This I actually do have this. Yep, I pulled it out, Bill. If you want to go full screen,
Sure.
so I can show it. I know you've done the same thing. When you've
Hey, you have to because it's hard to appreciate the scale of something. But yeah, this thing
yeah
is massive.
yeah, I'm trying to get it to fit into the camera here, but as you can see, there's just so many characters in this piece, packed with signature Hembeck detail. And it's a mixture of DC and Marvel characters. It's basically a homage to Steranko's illustration. But I just love how well he's first of all he's made Batman nice and large, which I love. That's great. What better character to put as a centerpiece here? And then right in front of Batman, he has Captain America, the Human Torch, which I think is the original Android Human Torch,
Cool.
and then Namor, so the invaders, and then along the bottom he has the Red Skull, Doctor Doom, and just a bunch of amazing characters. Even has the Joker in the corner, the Spider-Man up there. So, I mean, this is one of those pieces that I can look at for hours and see the sheer amount of uh, detail that Hembeck has packed into this, but also love the fact that it's his signature style. So yeah, if Bill, if I ever get to frame a piece, this will be the one, and put it on the wall. This will be the one.
I don't blame you. I mean, it deserves to be, on a wall. I mean, as far as Fred's work goes, it was I really was so happy to have it in the house for almost 3 or 4 weeks or whatever. But it was. I looked at it numerous times while it was in the flat file because it's wonderful. And you knew how, and Fred was really proud of this work too. He could tell. I mean, come on, he held on to it for a very long time. I mean, it meant a lot to him. And I just think that says a lot about the piece. And even though it's a recreation of a Steranko, it doesn't matter. I mean, he put a lot of care into this. And yeah, I mean, looking at it now, I mean that that Batman, it just looks fantastic. I mean, he's kind of the dominant figure in this, and everything kind of spills out from that. But yeah, just a great design, and Fred's amazing. I look forward to every time I get to have any time on camera with him because he's so much fun.
He is amazing, and as you know, Bill, I tried very hard to get the second piece in this series
You did.
when it was put up for auction, but it slipped out of my hands. But I feel that I'm very fortunate to have this piece to look at.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice if they could have stayed together, but that's what are you going to do? I think that everybody thought that the second piece wouldn't sell as much as the first one because it was, the second cover from the history of comics, but it did better because there was more interest. I mean, again, you see this and you miss out on it, you got to think twice about not missing out on the second one. And
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah, absolutely right.
All right. Now
This is
is it
Liam Sharp.
Liam, right? Yeah. Okay. Right. Okay. There we go. Yep.
Yeah,
Liam's got
so
such an interesting signature.
he does, he does. So, okay, I'm gonna officially give the award of nicest artist, nicest person to deal with in the comic art industry to Liam Sharp. He is such a gentleman, such a warm person to speak with, to interact with. It's unfortunate that he's moved back to the UK. He actually used to live not far away from where I am in the Bay Area. And I used to see him quite regularly, but now he flies over from the UK and whenever the opportunity arises, which is not as frequently. I've always been a longtime fan of Liam's style, which has evolved. Oh, did I lose Bill? Guys, can you still see me and hear me? Because I think we lost Bill. Okay, I will keep going even though you can't see the actual illustration. Okay, I'll take over. Um, so I don't know how to make myself full screen. Well, it looks like I am full screen. Well, I actually did pull out this Liam Sharp illustration. So let me try and show it to you guys. Again, you can see it's huge. But look at how Liam he's almost channeled his inner Sienkiewicz. Look at the sort of the split between the cowled half of the illustration and then obviously the Bruce Wayne part. Um, he does, yeah, Mike, you're absolutely right. He draws big, but this is one of the largest pieces I've seen from him in terms of it being a full page, a full splash. And I absolutely love the line work he's put in here. I've seen other pieces that he's done where he's more controlled and the line work is more not as fluid. It's more intentional. But here you can see that he's basically let himself loose and channeled his inner Sienkiewicz. So I absolutely love this piece from Liam. It's from Batman Chronicles, I believe. If I can, yeah, it's page 22 off of issue 7 of Batman Chronicles. So he hasn't done as much work for the big houses as Marvel and DC as I would like. And I got to say that Liam is one of those artists that it absolutely befuddles me how he has not become a bigger star than he is. I think he's definitely underappreciated and is immensely talented, immensely talented. Maybe he changed his style a little bit according to the times, and maybe that's one of the reasons why it's taken him a while to land. But golly, I would keep my eye on Liam Sharp. especially with some of the Conan work he's doing now. I think it's Conan, if I'm not mistaken. And certainly, if you can ever get your hands on a piece of original art from him, you won't regret it. So now I guess I have to wait for Bill to come back because I don't know how to progress the pictures and the slideshow without him. Does anybody in the chat want to uh, make a comment or try and help the chat move along while we wait for Bill to come back? Uh, uh, Marcus, I don't have any more pieces to show. These were all the pieces I pulled out. I'm just texting Bill. Black Viper, I showed the two Arthur Adams pieces that I pulled out for today. I have many more, which I didn't pull out, but maybe when we do this next time, I can show some more Art Adams pieces that I have. Let's see. Bill had to make a Zevia run. That's a good one. Anything I'm looking forward to? Yeah, I'm looking forward to like I mentioned, whatever Trad decides to do next. And I'm definitely interested in that. Uh, I think there's a lot of exciting work coming out of Felix's Galaxy in general. His artists are amazing, whether it's Bertram or Heron or Pope. Whatever they do, it's just phenomenal. I'm a big DWJ fan. I didn't put any of DWJ's works in today's portfolio, but I always look forward to DWJ's next drop. Daniel Warren Johnson's next drop if I can. Any not on your CAF? Are you talking about Arthur Adams or just in general? Black Viper. Let me know. What oh, hey, Kasra.
Cavalry to the rescue.
Yeah, you came in and you can take over, but do you have access to the files? No.
I can look for him. I can look for him, but we'll give Bill a few minutes.
Sure.
Where are we at?
You and I can shoot the breeze till then.
Did you answer this? Black Viper?
No, I don't have any Chris Stevens art. He's on my list.
He's coming to OAX.
I know. And I need to get a wall power from Chris. He's just absolutely phenomenal. The amount of and the fact that he does it in color, the amount of detail he packs into that is phenomenal. So yeah, Chris Steven is definitely on my list.
And he lives in Florida, so he should be bringing a lot of art again with him this time.
Yeah, just I mean, Felix has this uncanny ability to find every single person he brings on board is more and more talented. He brings on Steve McNiven. Like, come on, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and all his guys end up having like the best book of the year after year. It's been like 3 years straight now. I don't think anyone could have predicted that.
That's right. Yeah,
Marcus, I don't think so. We'd all rob his house.
Marcus, do you really think I did that? I'd like to meet the person who bought that cover. I mean, who dropped 70K on a cover that just got published? I mean, even though it's a gorgeous Nick Dragotta cover, I want to meet that person.
Yeah, I would too. I got some stuff to show him. Give me a second. Give me a second.
I'm gonna go
get a drink.
I do have a Nick Dragotta commission that I can show, which is right at the end.
Bill is back, I think. So let's see if this works. David Cho slept in.
I'm back,
What?
man.
Hey,
What is
Bill.
wrong with your internet?
I have no idea. The whole house went offline. I had to go restart the modem. I don't know what the heck happened.
Oh gosh.
But I'm glad you were there, Kazra.
The only thing
The-
I just like everybody else. All I'm thinking is, what are those girls doing in the house?
I went in. I did. What do you think? I went in there. I'm like, what are you guys doing? They're like,
Yeah, you
Dad.
just yelled. You walked in and yelled like a good dad does, right?
I did. I did. And they're all everybody. Even Maureen's like, Bill, it's all down. So I had to get the steps, reboot the modem, and here we are. We're back.
All right, I'll see you guys.
Thank you.
Good seeing you, Tariq.
Thanks, Kazra. Good seeing you, man.
Yeah.
All the best.
So
Bill, I did keep going, and I was able to show the Liam Sharp.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah. So we're past the Liam Sharp, and we can sort of make up for lost time if you want to. All right. Well, another Alan Davis piece. I mean, I had 2 Art Adams, and I need to have 2 Alan Davis pieces. This is the cover to X-Men 90. I believe this is from 1999. And what's not to love about it? I mean, Alan Davis is an absolute master of the craft. Again, when you look at Galactus, what I really like, what Davis captures perfectly here, is that beatific look on his face. He's just staring out into the distance, into the void. Doesn't really care about these ant-like X-Men that are maybe beneath him. You might think that that's the Human Torch right in front of Galactus's face. That's actually Professor X. And by the way, Davis did the interiors for this issue, so he drew Professor X like that in his I guess his astral form or psychic form.
Yeah, he's on the astral plane. Yeah.
With that little glow around or effect around his head. And what makes this really pop for me is that if you look at where Galactus's hand is in I guess it's the lower right corner here, you can almost imagine he could move his hand a little bit to the left and catch Colossus or save Colossus from falling, but you know he won't. You know he won't because he's so detached and he's so indifferent. But and again, it's not just the fact that there's a Galactus here, but I just love how Davis put these X-Men characters around Galactus and have them. They're not interacting with him directly, but they're being affected by him immensely. So, just another beautiful Davis piece that I was very fortunate to bring into my collection.
Yes, indeed. There are some people who would put Alan Davis as one of their top 5 X-Men artists too. I don't know. I did not, but I love his work, and he didn't do enough work on X-Men. I'll say that. But yeah, this is a fantastic cover.
Thank you. All right, John Byrne time. So this is a page from Fantastic Four 213. For the FF fans in the audience, this is the issue where Galactus battles with the Sphinx, and you can see from the top splash 1/3 that Galactus is the one who wins. I really like this page. Obviously, there's a number of reasons. It's Byrne. It's the first run Byrne had on the series. But it's not every day that you get to see Sinnott on Byrne. I think there's more than a few examples, but they're not very frequent. And I personally love to see Sinnott on the Fantastic Four. And I think that the combination of Byrne and Sinnott is underappreciated as compared to other inkers that Byrne has had over the years, obviously the topmost being Terry Austin. So the effect lines coming out of the top splash and that sort of that blast of Galactus cosmic energy that the Sphinx is succumbing to, and he basically loses his headgear as a result of that in this panel. It makes the whole thing, and as many people have noted as Derek has noted in the chat, and #1 Marvel fan, there's a Herbie appearance as well. So if you're a Herbie fan, this is even better. And I think that, if I'm not mistaken, I think that Herbie may even show up in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. So
It would be
this issue is not far from the debut of Herbie. I think he debuted into 210. So this is a very early Herbie appearance.
very nice. And John, he always signed in his art too, but at least he had a very good eye for where to put his signature. So it's not obtrusive, and it didn't cover up anything that was important.
Yeah, Antoine, that's a fantastic storyline. I'm glad it's one of your favorites. It's one of my favorites as well. And yep, #1 Marvel fan talks about FF176, The Impossible Man. That's also a great one. And if I'm not mistaken, that was illustrated by Perez, right? #1 MF.
I'm not sure, but yeah, I think his Burns' first run is a little underappreciated, but the values are definitely going up on them, because the run that we're all most familiar with, those pages are starting to become I wouldn't say untouchable, but you gotta really want one now if you want to spend 12 or $15,000 on a good page from that run. So yeah, but like you just said, having Sinet inks. I mean, Sinet's what kept FF consistent for years, regardless of who was penciling the book. And it's no strange twist of fate that he was so amazing and prolific. I mean, he made everybody look better. Even and in here, it's like it's Byrne, but it looks like an FF book. It does, it could be
Right.
Pollard, it could be Pollard, or it could be Perez, but you can see Sinet's influence in the work.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. The next one is Claudio Castellini, one of my all-time favorite artists. Um, I consider Claudio to be the spiritual successor to John Buscema when you look at his work. Yep, CJ Design, you got it right.
Mhm.
When you look at his work, it's almost like he took the Buscema framework of illustration and then accentuated it with his own flair. And here you can see it in its full glory with an illustration of Galactus and the Silver Surfer. They're both looking away from each other, so maybe there's a deeper story there. It is I don't think it's published. I think it's a commission. I certainly did not commission it. I
Mhm.
picked it up on the secondary market. I bought this from Anker quite a while ago. And I just absolutely love the way Claudio builds in some of his signature details. You see a planet being cleaved in two with Galactus standing in front of it, and the Silver Surfer gleaming. And I think that Claudio does that better than most artists do. He with the line work and some of the shading he has, he creates this effect of metallic silver shininess. And especially when I look at his Silver Surfer board, and I've seen more than one. You've probably seen more than one of his illustrations where he
Mhm.
does that
Oh, yeah.
on the board. It's just remarkable. So the backdrop of the cleaved planet and the space debris, but then you have in front of it this gleaming figure, the Silver Surfer, that's clearly stymied by Galactus's cosmic powers, makes for a powerful image, and one of my favorite pieces.
What's the size on this?
Oh, it's big. I don't know exactly, but it's bigger than 11 by 17.
Yeah, so it's oversized. Yeah, that's got to be
Yeah.
quite impressive. And you're right. I mean, he's so well drawn. He's almost like a hood ornament. He has the reflective quality is there. I mean, that's hard to achieve in an illustration. But boy, oh boy, is he! I mean, just that line work. That's crazy. I mean, that's not. What is he looking at for reference? Or is he not? Because if he's not, that's so very impressive. Because he's picking up the reflection of the surfer in the board and everything. And I know it's subtle, but it's there, and that's what makes it so realistic.
And then when you look beyond the board and you look at the planet beneath, I don't know if that's supposed to be the Earth or not, but you can actually see the land masses. That's exactly the way the land masses look when you're in orbit.
Mhm.
So I mean, he's packing in not only the detail on what's close to the viewer, but he also is packing in detail to what's far away, and they both look correct in their own individual perspective.
Well, congrats on this one. It's amazing, and we can thank Ankur for letting it go. Now look at that.
Um,
That's
Next one
interesting image.
from
This is a cover, right?
this is a cover. This is the cover to Thor. It's either 4 or 5
Hmm.
from the Jason Aaron run, and it's Isad Ribic,
Mhm.
and this was the first piece that I picked up from Anthony, which I fondly remember. First time I ever interacted with Anthony. I think this was New York Comic Con 2019. And there's a funny story behind this piece. I really liked it, and because I was new to the hobby, I didn't know any better. I actually gave a really lowball offer on the cover, which now in retrospect I think was not a very good idea. But I remember Anthony and Sharon, and there was probably one other person. They stood in a group and they debated my offer for a good 10 minutes. And I think they were debating, uh, this is a Thor cover. It's by Isad, but there's no Thor on the cover. Phoenix is on the cover, but it's the Phoenix Force, not Jean Grey Phoenix. So he ended up accepting my offer.
Really? He didn't even counter? Wow, that's
Uh,
so unlike Anthony, but it's
well, I love Anthony, and my first experience with him was a really good one. This was my first experience. And I like the cover as well. I love the cover because it's the Phoenix, and this whole element of how Jason Aaron brought the Phoenix into the Thor mythos. It's very controversial. Some people like it, some people don't like it. There was an issue where Jason Aaron described the story of Mjolnir, where there's actually a specific storm that was captured inside Mjolnir. I don't know if you read that one, Bill.
I did not.
And then further downstream, probably some of the stories he did before he left Marvel, he brought the actual Phoenix Force into the Thor mythos, and without any spoilers, there's a role that the Phoenix Force played in Thor's birth, so to speak. So to me, this is evocative of that. I'm a big fan of the Phoenix, and of more than Jean Grey Phoenix. I'm actually a big fan of the cosmic entity Phoenix, the Phoenix Force itself. I think
Mhm.
it's a fantastic character, and for me, this cover is a big fave because it is the Phoenix as illustrated by Isad holding Mjolnir, and approaching holding Mjolnir, and you can even see the claw marks on top of Mjolnir, which is kind of the icing on the cake. So really cool cover, and glad to have it in my collection.
And congrats. It wasn't an agonizing first experience, you know. I mean, with because there's I mean, if you threw a low ball offer, you even said it was a low ball offer. You didn't, but
I
he
didn't
took
know
it.
better at the time.
Right. No, I mean, I'm shocked. I've got Anthony on a show tomorrow. I'm gonna give him a hard time for that. It's like, yeah,
He probably doesn't even remember it.
he's forgotten. Well, we'll see. I'll find out. Maybe I won't ask him live. I'll do it in the green room before the show starts. But congrats on that. I mean, it's a very nice piece. I love Assad's work too. Oh, Finch, another Finch is coming back to OAX, and
That's right. Another phenomenally talented artist, this
Mhm.
time out of Jason Schachter's portfolio of artists, Essential Sequential. I've long admired David Finch's work, and the work he did on Batman is just pure poetry, visual poetry. His style is geared more towards these dark, gritty characters, street level characters, like Batman, like Moon Knight. And you know, the style of ink work that he uses, the strokes that he uses, uh, have a heavy shadow element to them. So this was originally this is another example of a commission that I asked David to do, and this actually got picked up as a cover to, I think it's Moon Knight 1. So the first issue of the new series had this as a variant cover. And the funny thing is that I hadn't seen the image that he illustrated for me. I had put in a request for a Moon Knight from him, but the cover was selected by Marvel, and I saw the cover first. When it was in preview, I saw the cover and I
Mhm.
thought, what a beautiful image of Moon Knight by David. I wish I had that. And it wasn't until the commission was sent to me and it arrived at my home and I opened it up that I realized it was the exact same commission that had become a cover. So this became a cover
Right,
before I
twice
even
already.
received it.
That's unbelievable. I mean, I'm kind of shocked and surprised, but that's incredible. He, did you ever ask him for a Galactus? Because we announced David's pre OAX list yesterday, and there was a little footnote note that said, "Don't ask for Galactus."
No, that's not
Nope,
attributable
not
to
because
me.
of you.
No. I did not ask him. I have not asked him for a Galactus. But it's good that I know he has that feeling about Galactus because I was kind of thinking about it.
Well, there you
But
go.
I haven't yet asked him.
You got to catch him on a good day. Maybe I don't know, but I just laughed when I saw that on there because there's some characters that probably take a little bit more work, a little bit of time, um, but like you said, I mean, David was meant to draw the gritty characters. He's draws a phenomenal Batman. This Moon Knight's amazing, but again, I'm still in shock that you've got two. Are you going to tell me there's a third? Is there a trifecta that we're going to find out about tonight that where you've commissioned someone and it ended up being a published cover?
No, no,
No, this
it's
is
just
it.
these two.
It's only twice.
It's just
Okay.
the lightning struck twice only.
Well, congrats on that. But yeah, no, this is amazing. I've always admired David's work, and boy, yeah, that's great.
And again, Bill, David is one of the nicest guys in the industry. Very, very nice to talk to, very approachable, and immensely talented. Just it's striking someone so talented is so humble. So yeah, just a great person to interact with. And certainly, if anybody is in the market for a Finch commission, the OAX2 is a great opportunity to do that.
David would appreciate hearing that. I think he's gotten a few commissions from the show last night, but yeah, no, I love it's funny, when we have that preview video on YouTube, he's the one first talking about OAX, and it starts playing every time I go over to it. But it's great. You see his enthusiasm. He had a really good time at the show last year, and you're right, he's one of the nicest guys out there. His YouTube channel has a couple 100,000 followers. I mean, he's very personable, very likable guy, and incredibly talented. Let's see here. So we have a surfer image and familiar artist signature there. Guy who's popular and going to OAX as well.
Well, this is me lucking out. I got this commission from Nick Dragotta, probably 2020. One of the first commissions that I got through Felix, and Nick is just an immense talent, and I'm so glad to see that he's finally being recognized for the amazing work that many of us know he has done and is capable of through what he's done for Absolute Batman. But this is well before he hit that level of fame.
Mhm.
I knew that Nick had this uncanny ability to um, put the camera in front of the character at very unique and striking and bold angles. And I think I was at a con where he was, and I had a discussion with him about would he be able to do a Silver Surfer, and this is back when Trad was doing Silver Surfer, but do it in a way where the camera is right at the base of the board, so it's at the front of the board and it's at the base, and it's looking up at the surfer, and he's capturing basically the space whizzing by in the background. And he listened to me carefully, and voila, this is what he produced. And to know that he has covers that go for 70,000 or so, or 50,000, or whatever amount that is to me amazing. But I had this piece long before, and when I look at how he sort of takes the front leg and thickens it as it approaches you, the viewer, and then he has the finger that's extended out, almost curved into the top corner there, with the space whizzing by in the background, and you have that almost alien skull peeping out, which is Norin Rad's head. Man, one of my favorite Silver Surfer images, and I wish Marvel chooses this to become a cover one day.
Well, given your luck at it, you may get your wish. No, it's incredible. I love Nick's work a lot, and yeah, I feel pretty honored that he's coming to OAX again this year, just given the fact that he's in high demand, right? I think Snyder's even going to MegaCon 2 weeks after that, but he's not. He's going to OAX. I think that says a lot about the show, and the fact that we got the right vibe going at OAX. But I love this, and the fact that he
Absolutely, yeah.
took a little bit of direction and just made it his own is it's wonderful.
And I love the use of Zipatone on it as well. It's not every Silver Surfer illustration you see that has Zipatone on it. So he's achieved that. I mean, Claudio Castellini does it differently,
Mhm.
in terms of showing the shininess of the metal, the silver effect. Here, Nick does it using Zipatone, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's fantastic. Now, just so you know, that was the 18th piece, I think. But I was trying to account, so I want to make sure we get to see everything tonight. But here, look, you've got a John Byrne from the run that everybody wants a page from, and you even have this one that features Galactus prominently. So, congrats on that. I mean, was this something you were chasing for a while, or were you lucky and you got this? So you can tell me you got this in 2019, in your first year collecting.
This is the first piece I got from Glenn.
Okay.
So this is a Glenn piece, a panel page piece. Yeah, and the reason I featured it here, selected it for the show, is it's another Byrne, but it's not a Byrne Synod. It's Byrne on Byrne. And this is from the trial of Reed Richards' storyline, where he saves Galactus and then gets put on trial by the entities at large. I think primarily by the Shi'ar, but many other races. And he kind of has this amazing dialogue with Galactus, where Galactus is telling him, "You need to take care of me, because I have this unending hunger, and you have to end my hunger forever." And Reed Richards says back to him, "I cannot accept that, Galactus. There must be an alternative." So I realize I just did a little bit of an undramatic reading there, so
You did.
apologies. But
I was
but
letting you go, man. That was great.
I just love the storytelling technique that Byrne employs. The fact that it has Galactus looming large, but this is not an antagonistic interaction between Reed and Galactus. It's an evolution of their relationship to the point where Reed is now defending Galactus's life, and what a page to look at, and you can see the John Byrne signature right there in the lower right panel as well.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I always like the square eye pupil. I mean, it's just it threw me, but it worked. I mean, I love it. But yeah, if I could, I do have a page from FF that John Byrne worked on, but it has no FF in it. But I feel happy just to own it because it's it's from that run, man. I mean, it was so much fun, and this is back when Byrne could do whatever the heck he wanted to do, and he chose to
Right.
FF, and that was as a Byrne fan or as a Perez fan, I mean, it was just so fun knowing that John could just literally write his own ticket and do whatever the hell he wanted. And it was just so fun being along, for the ride for it, because that's what it felt like, like a guy who could literally, pick and choose whatever he wanted to do and tell whatever stories he wanted. And he was on FF, the flagship book that, I think so many people would say is what really put Marvel on the map. So yeah, I mean, I don't know, I love it. If I, there's a few pieces out there I'd love to get one day, and it's something from his FF run that has the characters on it would be high on that list.
Absolutely. And he's at the peak of his powers here. Just like you said,
Mhm.
he could do no wrong when he was illustrating FF. And the work is so tight. It is tight, and that's what I love about it. So I mean, hopefully I'll be able to get more examples of that era in the future, but this is the one I have for now.
It's a great one.
So did you want to do, I want to do a quick time check with you, Bill. I know it's getting late on the East Coast. I'm on the West Coast, so it's no later than dinner time for me. But did you want to maybe do a couple more pieces and
Yeah,
leave the
a couple
rest for
more.
next time, or we want
Yeah,
to
let's
keep
do that
going?
because clearly you have a lot more art that we easily could do a second show just talking about the art. You're very articulate and passionate about the pieces you've collected, Tariq. I'd love to have you back on and do another one of these. But like you said, yeah, there's like I think about 10 more scans that we've got, and I don't want to not pick up, review or talk about any of the pieces that you really wanted to do this evening. So where did you want to go from that one?
I mean, we can definitely do a sequel to this.
Good.
You know me. I love talking about the artwork, and
Well, let's
uh,
let's do this
we
one
can.
and we got two more. I think yeah, after this one, well, how about three more? We have this one, the Starlin and the Jusco. I think
Okay,
I'm
let's
looking at them.
definitely do the Starlin and the Jusco as well.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
expressed my love for Daniel Warren Johnson before. Apologies for the scan. This is the Felix scan, and so you see the Felix logo in the corner. But this is a DPS from the Beta Ray Bill
Mhm.
miniseries that DWJ wrote and illustrated. And if you zoom into it, the amount of detail here is absolutely bonkers, off the charts, insane. That hand you see is Surtur's hand. Surtur, the big fiery villain that Thor smites on a semi-regular basis.
Mhm.
And he's holding now, gosh, I'm blanking on which sword this is, but it's supposed to be the sword that will bring about the twilight of the gods. And so you see in the center of this double page spread, or actually double page splash, Surtur's hand emerging from the planet, holding a sword that's almost cleaving the universe into two. But you have Scuttlebutt, which is Beta Ray Bill's ship,
Mhm.
with Beta Ray Bill standing there looking at the whole scenario, and they're almost very, very calm with all this chaos going on in the background. I love the explosion, the way Daniel captures these explosions, spaceships exploding in the background, with Surtur holding a sword, a fiery sword. Uh, what an amazing DPS from DWJ, and what a great example of his amazing talent. I continue to marvel at how he produces these pieces, and I unfortunately don't have the actual one here, but you when you look at it, you'll see that he uses a lot of white on black and gray on black, and really tries to bring out the texture in the piece as well. And even the detail on the spaceship, the surface of scuttlebutt, the spaceship, it almost reminds me of the Nostromo from Alien or some of the
Sure.
other classic spaceships that you've seen over the years. Just phenomenal work.
Yeah, I'd love to see this in person, Tariq. I'm sure it's amazing. I've seen a fair amount of DWJ's pieces before, but this one in particular, I think, is really. I mean, just the whole space scene alone with the ships, the stars, and then you have this, Surtur's hand coming out of the planet, almost like a whirlwind of fire. It's unbelievable. I mean, it's funny. I'm kind of thinking back to the what was it? It was a commission that Newell had, Stingray, that undersea piece that your eye just kept moving around and around, and it was all because of the
Right.
sea life, right? Well, the same thing is happening in this piece through the flames, through the destruction and the explosions, back to the ships, back to the characters. Your eye just keeps moving around in it, and seeing something new with almost every pass, and that's a unique talent. And clearly DWJ is he's a unique talent times 10. But yeah, I love seeing pieces like this, and yeah, this is fantastic. Yeah, Stingray Orca Boops, that's right. uh but yeah, no, this is great. Congrats. I mean, that's amazing.
The Twilight Sword, number
uh,
one Marvel fan. You got it. That's right.
hey, Kevin
Yeah,
Sharp.
absolutely. Hey, Kevin. Good to see you in the chat.
He's always hugging that ice cream cone in his avatar. All right, so this is a little departure, right? I guess from some of the pieces we've seen already. It looks like an end page, right? This is a Marvel premiere
Yeah.
story by Starlin.
Yeah, one of the pieces I picked up from Heritage. So, um, I will admit that out of all of the artists that I love, and as you've seen, there are many, Jim Starlin is way up there. And
Hmm.
the most number of pieces that I have from one artist are from Jim Starlin. I've only chosen one here today. But it's not what you would expect. It's not an Adam Warlock or a Silver Surfer piece. It's actually a Doctor Strange piece. And it's not what the usual inker for Jim Starlin. I mean, usually you would think it's Al Milgrom or maybe Steve Lee Aloha. But here it's Frank Giacoa with Dave Hunt. And this sort of last page or finale, two-thirds splash comes from Marvel Premiere number 8, which I believe came out in 1977. But I'm just amazed at how Starlin captures the essence of Doctor Strange, but puts Doctor Strange in a cosmic context. So you can see him standing there in front of lots and lots of space, yeah, Blackwood stars, space. Um, and even though this this story was more of a Shuma Gorath type story, so very Lovecraftian, had creatures and monsters in it. But at the very end, he captured that cosmic horror aspect with the perfect expression on Strange's face, but not just the expression. I mean, his whole body, like CJ says, like he grabs the expression very well, and then puts the planets and the moons in the background, sort of to evoke that other dimensional, ethereal feel. So I absolutely love this page. I am a huge, unabashed fan of Jim Starlin, and if my collection moves in one direction towards one artist, more pieces from one artist, that
Hmm.
artist is going to be Jim Starlin.
Well, he's very sought after for his galactic related work on many different titles. But the good thing is he's so prolific, right? I mean, there's so much wonderful work of his out there. But you're right. The Dave Hunt, Frank Giacoya inks on here, really accentuate the piece. And I love it. I love the planets, the way that they're rendered behind him. Even like, you know, it's the nice big shadow on this planet here from the other planet. It's just it's fun. This is kind of like the Marvel that I started out reading as a kid, right? I mean, I would have been, if this was 77, I'd be 9 years old at this point. But yeah, this is the stuff that I love. And you know, like you said, Warlock was pretty cool. You know, there's a lot to enjoy there, lay low inks and whatnot. But yeah, there's something really nice about this piece. So it's definitely in the right collection.
And it's Stephen Strange narrating the story. It's almost like those last couple of panels. He's speaking directly to the reader,
Right.
and telling them how, you know, narrating how things are closing out, and what could happen next, and it could be very horrific. If you look at the top panel, he's looking straight at you, the reader, and there's a lot of word balloons right next to it. So just love the storytelling technique Jim uses in this page.
Yeah, no, it's lovely, man. This is great. Yeah, you know, you never think about that, but it is a very good, you know, it's stuff you can do in comics you can't do anywhere else. Like with him talking directly to the reader, you know, he's kind of finishing the story by talking directly to you. So often we're used to the you know, an EC character talking to us at the start of a story,
Right.
and you know, and it's but no, this is wonderful. I mean, it's a great example of narrative storytelling that you know, you just can't do in any other medium. I love this. This is it's beautiful. Yeah, Gil says he hopes to see newer artists inspired by past artists' work like that. Agreed. Now, here we go. This is well, we're going to end the night on this Joe Jusko Silver Surfer Marvel Masterpieces card art. It's a recreation, but it don't matter. I mean, Joe's Joe because he's so damn talented. I mean, I love this piece to death, and uh, wow. And so, was this now this is done in 20? So this is was
2020, yeah.
was this a recreation you asked him to do, or did you pick it up in the aftermarket?
I picked it up from Comic Link,
Got it.
in a Comic Link auction. But just look at this piece. Look at the silver the silver effect on his skin. And the more you look at it, the more you get drawn into it. Jusko is an absolute master of his craft. I've admired his work for decades now, and I consider myself extremely fortunate to have been able to pick up one of his pieces. I don't see them come on auction that much, but
Hmm.
for it to be a cosmic piece is even more cause for gratitude. You can see the planet Earth in the background. I assume that's the Earth, and he hasn't really put that a lot of hyper detail into it. He's kept the foreground more detailed. So when you look at the figure of Silver Surfer, you actually get the impact of him coming towards you, and then the splashes of purple that he puts into the background, this stark black background with a few planets dotted here and there, but then you have the purple, with these bright stars, blue stars or yellow stars in the middle, just brings the whole piece together for me. So, love Joe Jusko. I think he's a massive, massive talent. I haven't actually met him. Haven't had the pleasure of meeting him. Would love to meet him. If maybe at a future OAX if that ever happens. But I think the work he's producing, he's at the peak of his career right now. The card art that he's been producing, and some of that we saw for sale recently, is just
Hmm.
absolutely phenomenal. So one of my favorites. Next on the list is to see if I can snag a Joe Jusko Galactus, which would really be icing on the cake.
Indeed, that definitely would. No, I mean he's amazing, and he's an artist that other painters really respect, right? There was the I think it was it last summer when he did there's like this Masterworks class that a lot of you know, current, you know, highly well regarded artists go to, you know, it's like a week-long seminar. I forget where, in like Wisconsin or something like that. But Joe was the guest of honor. I mean, and yeah, I can. I can see why other artists would want to just learn the craft that he's worked on for since the early 70s or mid 70s, I guess, is really when he started. What was it, when he was in school around 77, 78, I think, in his art in New York Art College. So yeah, he's just he's immensely talented, and he doesn't get out to a lot of shows. Ironically enough, even before OAX had a title, Joe was like the first person I asked about it, and he turned me down pretty much right away. So he's definitely on our list. But Joe, he's always busy, right? And so, like, I
Right.
think for him, it's if he's going to go to a show, he probably, especially like OEX, he's going to want to have artwork to show off. So we might, it'll happen someday. I can pretty much guarantee that. Um, but yeah, we do have a lot of card artists at the show this time around too. Dan Dos
Yeah,
Santos.
CAX at OAX.
Exactly, and IAX at OAX. We've got
IAX at OAX. Yeah.
yeah, and you figure with Bianchi, Dan Dos Santos, Palumbo, there's three major card artists that have worked on Marvel masterpieces that are going to be there. So yeah, we floated the idea to Joe, but again, it'll happen. It's just not happening this year. But yeah, he'll be there. But it's funny, this piece compared to the last piece. There's no way that Joe doesn't have an appreciation for the way Starlin drew outer space, right? Because you look at the planets, we know that it doesn't look like this, but Starlin was making outer space look like this, in the 70s for sure, and that was a huge influence on Jesco. There's no way it wasn't. So.
Right. I mean, there you can see the space opera in the background happening,
Hmm.
right? It's amazing. So that's a great observation.
Yeah, it's true because I've done so many of these already of interviews and things, but we've seen pictures of Starlin going to gallery exhibits, in the mid 70s, and they're the same places where Joe was starting to go to college, and he'd be hanging out at these to see the artists and stuff. So he's seeing exhibitions of Starlin's work and Barry Windsor Smith and Galuda and whatnot, and yeah, he was heavily influenced by those guys. So. Yeah, no, this is a great piece, recreation or not. I mean, just to have a finished piece by Jesco at this caliber is fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes, wow. So yeah, we're gonna do it. We'll do another one of these. Obviously, there's plenty more art to look at, Tariq. We'll I don't know. We'll figure out when our schedules work well again. Maybe something in the spring. But yeah, I'd love to do another one of these with you, because again, there's just so much artwork to look at, and yeah, you're very insightful. It's always great to hear the collector's perspective on what about the art means a lot to them. And while clearly story is important, the creativity and the talent behind the creators who you collect is equally as important. And I appreciate that, and you convey all those passions about your love for the hobby and the work very well.
Oh, thank you, Bill, and thank you for the opportunity to share my art with the community and some of my passion with regards to the art. Hopefully, folks liked what they saw and wasn't too boring. Hopefully, nobody went to sleep. Although I didn't hear anything from ML after you made that first comment, but
Well, but he's a busy guy these days. He's had a few major things going on in his life. So I imagine he might have had to take a break. Maybe he's watching it on the rewind. But I was hoping Larry would be here, because Larry's always got a barb or two to throw around, and we didn't get one comment from Larry in the chat. I just felt for sure he didn't even hit me up on the side to let me know that he's the number one Galactus collector. So maybe what would be fun is to have all three of you on for a debate one night about Galactus and other things. That might be fun.
well, maybe for our part two, then it's actually good that we didn't get to it. But I'll pull out my Kirby Galactus piece, which is probably the oldest Galactus piece that I have.
Wow. Well, no, that's good. You're right that that piece is not in the set. Okay. All right, Tariq. Well, listen, I really enjoyed this. It was well worth the wait. And you know, obviously, I think the next time we're going to get to see each other is at OAX. So I hope you have a great holiday season. Right, we got Christmas and New Year's coming around here, but OAX is right around the corner too. So looking forward to getting to see you at the show again, and what you pick up there. Clearly, anything that you commission, you know, has the chance of winding up as being a cover. So don't. So please show off whatever you pick up there. I'd love to see it. I was lucky enough to get to see that one, you know, the Wayshack Galactus piece in person. But that's one of the things that that I regret the most. I think at the last show was just not getting to see as much pieces that in person. I got to see my CAF afterwards, but I didn't get to look at a lot of the artwork that OAX help bring about. But anyway,
But it was worth it, Bill.
it was.
You made it a success. You didn't have Tatiana in her role, the role that you have her now. So hopefully you'll be able to do it in 2.0, OAX 2.0. But you know, it's going to be a phenomenal event. Looking forward to it.
And I didn't call anybody that. I don't know what they're saying in the chat. They
What is that?
misinterpret.
What what are you talking about?
I said two words together that makes them think I'm talking about them, but I did not. I did not say that at all. But anyways, Treat, thanks for doing this, man. And again, you have an amazing collection, and you know, and one that you know, you're one of the galleries that I watch. So it's, you know, it's like your collection that I can't miss an update from. And you know, and there's a lot of them on CAF, but yours is one that that I very much admire. So thanks for sharing the pieces that you did tonight, and we'll do it again.
We'll definitely do it again. Thank you, Bill, and thank you everyone in the chat.
You got it. And I guess it was not me that said it. I thought maybe somehow I strung those two words together, but all right, very good. It's not me. All right, everybody.
It was the #1 Marvel fan. Okay, now I
Now
feel better.
that makes more sense now. All right, it was Tom. All right, everybody. You guys have a good evening, and I'll see you again tomorrow night. Take care.